Alright, so this one says colonize it, right? R word, murder, behead, defoot, etc. So I'm going to tell you off the bat, I don't like the R word, so I'm going to call it either the R word or grape because I just don't like that. But what this guy's saying is true. What the Europeans called colonization to the natives was near genocide. So the Spaniards did come with that attitude. They wanted to just take out the natives and claim their land and that be their land without the natives. So they were enslaving them, they were killing them, they were murdering them, beheading them, befooting them, and R-wording them, I'm sure, in history. But I want to talk about that too. That word gets thrown around a lot about my ancestors, and that gets me mad. So when I do research, okay, when the Spaniards, Christopher Columbus and them, colonized Hispania, which was the Caribbean islands, they didn't know the language. They didn't have no way to know Taino. The Tainos had no way to know Spanish. And there was another generation of mestizos that came after them. So obviously it had to have been the product of grape. So it happened. But as you go to Mexico and New Mexico, I'm sure it happened here and there. It still happens to these days. Not just with Spaniards, with natives, with everybody. It's not a racial thing. But that word is very sensitive. I hate that word because I hate sex offenders, period. But if we want to keep it real, like I always do in my history, yes, that did happen. And they did call it colonizing. But the murder, the beheading, the defooting, that happened a lot. The other word, I mean, that gets thrown around. It's like La Leyenda Negra, the Black Legend. Back in the 14 and 1500s, there was a thing going around called the Black Legend in Europe. They were trying to, like, demonize Spain. So what they were doing is all of Europe had turned Protestant Christian at the time, and Spain was the last Catholic stronghold. So they hated Spain, and everybody was talking shit about Spain, trying to say Spain was dirty, trying to call them the R word, saying that everything they did was all bloody and they were just ruthless. And it's called the Black Legend. You could look it up. So what happened is they were even trying to say Spain wasn't part of Europe. They were trying to say that it was part of Africa, and that north of Spain is where Europe started. They didn't start saying that until the Black Legend days, though. They were trying to spread this Black Legend because it was more like a Protestant versus Catholic thing. So that thing came to the New World as well. And what you guys got to understand when I talk about the New World, I'm talking about it in history from a European perspective. So you got to understand, they called it the New World. It was a new world to them. Their world was Europe and all the world they knew, maybe the Mediterranean. They knew all the way to India. They didn't know there was anything west of that until they ran into it. So when they ran into it, to them it was a new world, and to them it was a discovery. Of course, to the natives that were living there, it wasn't the same. So you're always going to have that argument. But I just wanted to respond to this by saying I hate that R word getting thrown out about my ancestors all the time. Because maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. I mean, I'm sure sometimes it did happen, but it's just hard to say that it did. So you, right here, you tell me one instance where you could tell me your ancestors got R word by my ancestors. See, I'm telling you, it's not like that. It's a Black Legend. I'm sure when they first came, it happened. That was Christopher Columbus and the first wave of Spaniards in 1492 in the early 1500s. After that, it's hard to say. Anyway, I hope you learned something new. Thank you for watching. I'm out.